cling to fantasies alone. Dreams of grandeur broken, scattered on the floor. Reality's a prison with no exit door. Angry eyes searching for someone to blame, but it's just reflections twisting in the shame. Specters of detractors celebrating in the night, falling from the past all in endless flight. Everyone's abandoning the sinking ship so fast, losing grip on reality, can't outrun the past.
In the heart of the cold dark north, where secrets twist and shadows morph, the stalker's eyes, they're fixated still. On the screens he conquers at his will. He's Derek, not Derek, you better know. Demanding respect in whispers low. With each click, his world does spin. In a web of lust he's drowning in. Buffalo Bill with the twisted thrill. Online whispers, they're haunting still. With each click, his world does spin. In a web of lust he's drowning in. Buffalo Bill with the twisted thrill. Online whispers, they're haunting still. Cyber jungle, he prowls at night. Cameras live under neon light. He's a phantom in the digital air, plucking nerves and pulling hair. Dangerous offender caught in a spree. His heart's a cage, but he holds the key. DERICH IP with a darkened soul. Emptiness swallows him whole. Threads of desire tightly wound. In an abyss he's deeply bound. He stalks like shadows, never sleep. In the silence secrets keep. Through the screens he's walking tall. Mind a prison with no wall.
He's drowning in. The algorithms are rigged, but truth is hard to bitter pill, a consequence unfaked. He built his throne on lies, on curated countless scams. Out dash fires burning bright, exposing all the shams. Crash out king, your reign is done. The empire's crumbling down. Dash fires lit the match, the fire spreading through the town. No more pity bodies, no more crocodile tears. The reckoning is here, filled by all these wasted years. Crash out king, your pockets bleed. To live in
What is going on, guys? What is going on? Are you guys ready? Are you ready to have some fun today? What is going on, Joe Davis? We got King in the house. We got Misogynist over on Kick. What is going on? What is going on? So today, very first episode ever of the Robust podcast. And we're starting off with one of the greatest out there, detractors, good guy overall, amazing wrestler, and, besides me, PWR's worst enemy. However, before we get to that, we're going to take a look at some stuff here. So apparently, DSP had a very bad day today. He did not hit the $150 goal. And not only that, he had, look at this. So this is February 18th. Look at all these bands right here. So this right here is the Detractor Wins website. It tracks all the bands on YouTube and Kick. And look at that. 38 bands today. Of course, it's on the heels of the Virtual Boy stuff. And look at all this. Look at all of these bands in here. It's amazing. Look at this. All this today. Even some of them, no message found. And look at Phantom Money Wizard. I wonder why he got banned. And let's see here. Are you view-botting like LTG? Amazing. Amazing. However, I know what you guys are here for. And as I was going to set up everything, something happened. Breaking news with the subject of today, that being PWR. Are you guys ready for this update? So first off, since the last time we saw PWR, he was talking about getting out of his apartment. He was talking about how he might get evicted. He wanted a credit card. He wanted people to pay his rent. He wanted a loan. So he put this out. Getting settled in my new spot. Hoping to return by streaming by this weekend. Hope you better believe I'm hot to get back in there. That is right. He thinks he's in a group home, a mental facility. Now, look at this picture right here. Look at this picture right here. Does that look familiar? Look at BC on the other side of the country. Not only that, oh, look at that. It is a mental health facility, but he's lying yet again. The grift continues. And then, oh, it got worse from there. So he decided to stream from his mental health facility. And he's going to say that they have control over his money. And then, in a very weird way, he's going to say that the detractors are abusing him again. And his cousin is threatened to give up her butt for him. That's right. His cousin wants to have sex with PWR. And PWR's response is that if people keep bullying me, he's going to have sex with his cousin.
Money now. So they put caps on my spending limit. They have control of my money now. And it actually sucks. It actually sucks because I do have a cousin, and she does the OnlyFans, and she was offering up the butt here. And if I keep getting abused, I might take her up on it. So
That is right. He's saying if the detractors keep making fun of him and bullying him, he's going to have sex with his family. What a sick bastard. That is right. The new grift I almost called him DSP. The new grift to PWR is incest. What a sick, sick bastard. And then it gets worse because this right here, the next thing, broke today. And that is this right here. So apparently he's saying He's in a mental facility for his addictions and all this stuff. But he's saying he left to the bar. So if you're in a mental health facility for your addictions, they're not going to let you go to a bar and drink alcohol. And look at that mouth. Look at that teeth. That right there looks like it's from meth. And look at the, oh my God, Rob Ford rip. If anyone doesn't know, Rob Ford is the crack-smoking mayor of Toronto. And then even, are you a crack sniffer? They love the Rob Ford. Canadian touch there. And then look at this. Look at him chugging it. Remember, he doesn't have addictions, dude. And not only that, apparently, people in the restaurant or the bar or wherever it was complaining about him and saying how, oh, you're making too much noise, and they almost kicked him out. It's a shame. PWR, everywhere you go, everyone hates you. And nobody wants you around. So ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? I said. There's a Canadian mental health facility. Yeah, there's like 6 of them. So now, we're going to bring out the man of the hour. Are you ready for Lord Diaz? And in this podcast, we're going to get to know the detractors more. And this is the very first episode. He's a 20-year veteran wrestler, detractor, and overall good person. He has worked with some of the greats, including Scott Steiner. He has done design work for Eric Bischoff and Chris Jericho. He, along with me, is one of PWR's most hated people. And of course, that person is Lord Diaz. And then we're going to have him on the line here. Hello.
Hola, amigo. What's going on, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome home.
That is right. For the first time ever, Diaz and Dash in the same place with a conversation about PWR.
I'm hype. I'm hot for it, dudes. We're hot. The penises are up, dude.
One of the best overall impressions of PWR ever. I'm just going to say that. Him and Ames. And
I was just about to say, Ames is also top tier when it comes to the PWR mimic game.
yeah, I was watching the stream, and the very first thing I heard when I put on Ames was his impression of PWR. It was amazing.
I love how the de facto response anytime we step into a chat room, whether it be bro sides or Ames, it's always the first thing. You effing coward. You effing blank.
Or calling us boneheads or whatever.
You effing bonehead.
I was surprised because Broside Phil is usually like reserved, and he's like articulate, and then all of a sudden he just lets it all out at PWR. It's funny. It's so funny.
I love Broside Phil, dude. And it is so funny to find so many, not just the DSP and the PWR stuff that we kind of align on. It comes in different ways too, like the pro wrestling stuff, and specifically with me and Broside, and I'm sure a lot of people here in the chat as well. I'm looking at you, King Be Cruel. We all have this shared love for early 2000s Adult Swim, and if you come to my channel anytime, you see a lot of the fingerprints of those days, and it's really cool to see the references and the things that you grew up on, that you latched onto, being used in other people's live streams and productions. It makes my heart sing.
Yeah, and especially like me, you, Broside. I'm gonna reveal something right now. All 3 of us are millennials. I'll just say that right there. So we have a love for a lot of different stuff. And I know one of your loves is DDR. And you have so many videos out there, amazing videos. Tell everyone about your DDR videos and your Stepomania.
Oh man, look at this. Dashfire coming in hot. What an excellent host, by the way. Coming out swinging right out the gates. I really do appreciate that. So I won't bore everybody with the details, but essentially, like, everybody knows that I do a lot of the detracting stuff. But my true love, my one true passion is Dance Dance Revolution. Now hold on a second. Don't turn off the stream. I can hear the wells drying up, but hear me out. It has become a actual like hangout legit spot where people come through, whether they're fans of the pro wrestling stuff, whether they're fans of the tracting stuff, or if they're a fan of the step mania stuff. And essentially we all kind of come together and we blend into this weird Venn diagram of just hanging out, listening to these songs, and essentially Dance Dance Revolution, for those of you who do not know, it's a rhythm game, kind of like Guitar Hero, where you use your feet. You've seen it a lot in movies, like I wish I could remember it, but I have a shitty memory. But Family Guy, I think, had a reference in there somewhere. I mean, it's in the lexicon, it's in the zeitgeist of culture, and I've been playing it ever since I was doing professional wrestling, which has been a long time ago. Again, the early 2000s, all of that. The late 1900s, and it's just been something that has kept me active and something that I've carried with me throughout my entire life. I've done it just as long as I've done the graphic design stuff and the pro wrestling stuff, and I've met a lot of really cool people from it. And I know it's always really cool to hear, like, for an example, King Be Cruel. I'm going to name drop him all the time. Let me get a broom out.
Or King Be Bitch.
Yeah. We have shared love for like the classic DDR arcade songs, so Captain Jack and like Smile DK. Everybody knows Butterfly, and that's something that really I'm really attracted and attached to, and so much so that I've invested a lot of like time and money to make the production of the streams that I do, which is literally every weekday morning, into something that I can also clip farm at the same time, and something that, I can also use as a tax write-off. So it's like I am living my dream essentially, which is waking up in the morning, making myself some coffee, getting everything set up, and doing like 2 to 3 hours of really hard cardio, really, really intense workout. And I know that I can carry that runner's high with me throughout the rest of the day. And even if I have a shitty day, even if like I know that I have a lot of other work that I need to take care of and a lot of obligations I have to take care of, as long as I know that I had my DDR in the morning, I feel a lot better about the day. I feel like it's a win no matter what, as long as I can get that stream in.
And especially with your DDR, you are big on health, losing a lot of weight because of DDR, correct?
This is true. I was a fat boy growing up. He's fat! And it was, of course, the year after I graduated high school. I found DDR, also found like Stack 2. Like, I know we're talking millennial stuff. Remember back in the day, during the Attitude Era, they had the commercials for the Stacker 2, the diet pill?
Oh, yeah.
So let's just say that, I was a victim of the WWE propaganda machine because I spent all my time watching, the Attitude Era wrestling. And so I found Stacker 2 and DDR, and I was, fresh out of high school, and I was ready to take on the world, and I was gainfully employed. I became a mall rat. I hung out at the arcades constantly, met with a whole group of people there too, and like that was my social circle for a while. And, I've been able to find different spots, different arcades. This was back in the day, by the way, guys, where the mall was the place to be. And so I remember spending a lot of time just at the arcades, just chilling, playing video games. And I feel like, in a way, doing this streaming stuff, like because I used to stream playing video games too for a spell, but like I feel like the streaming of the video games is almost that same type of social I guess, for lack of a better word, enrichment, because you were all just hanging out, standing around, watching other people and waiting your turn and stuff like that. So I always try to equate it that. Maybe it's a weird little cope that I have built in my head, my dumb little head canon, that this is just the natural progression of things, since now, nobody goes to the mall and there's, no real arcades out there anymore.
Yeah, and everyone has their own thing that they get into, and yours was DDR, and you got the health thing going on. However, everyone has a weakness when it comes to food, or a cheat meal. What would be your cheat food or your weakness coming to food?
Oh, so I know exactly the answer to that question, because every time I go off my diet, I'm also, I hate to, say this out loud, but yes, I do follow a very strict keto diet, and I know it's even worse than like, oh, I'm a vegan, this, that, and the other. I try not to make it a big deal, but it is a part of a lifestyle change that I made in my life to where, obviously I can't use Sacker 2 my whole life in order to stay in shape or, lose weight or keep the weight off because for obvious reasons. So um, I would say maybe 14, 15 years ago, I started removing carbs and sugar from my diet, which, and trust me, there's actually a point to this story. The first thing that I go to when I go off my keto diet is the sugariest and most carb-filled thing you can think of, and those are the Cinnabon bites from Taco Bell.
Ooh, those are good, especially with the filling on the inside.
Oh,
Oh.
yes, yes.
So besides DDR and streaming and stuff, what are some of your hobbies or favorite things to do offline?
Oh man. So I'm a graphic designer as well. I went to school for it and I've been doing it freelance for just as long as I've been playing DDR and just as long as I've been doing pro wrestling. So a lot of my time is usually spent either doing things for any of those different aspects of my life. So I rarely have any real time to my. What was the question you just asked? I'm really sorry. I fucking forgot what you said.
Is there anything you like to do offline or have a hobby?
I was about to say I'm never fucking offline, bro. I'm always listening to YouTube or Spotify or something. But I mean, obvious. Ask me the question one more time. I'm really fucking sorry.
No problem. Is there any hobbies you have or things you do offline?
Man, I mean, literally you see it. Literally you see it. The Stepmania streams, the late night chill streams, the illegal re-streams, the wrestling, and the graphic design. So, I mean, if I'm not doing anything, I like to, be kind of stun locked on the sofa and watch Adult Swim, the old Adult Swim,
Oh
the
yeah,
2000s
the best kind.
Adult Swim. Mm.
So, what would your favorite video game of all time be?
I could say right here, right now, I have been playing the same game for at least over a decade. And you can actually see a lot of early gameplay live streams that I've done over the course of this decade that I played it. It's a game that I've invested a lot of time, hundreds of hours, at least $1,000 into. Because of the subscription, obviously, it's an MMO. It's Final Fantasy 14, and the reason why I put it above all of the other Final Fantasies, and I'm gonna nerd out about Final Fantasy for a minute. I've been playing it ever since 7, and I went back and played everything before that, and then everything after that. Final Fantasy 14 is such a massive game. It's such an incredible story-driven game, but it also picks and chooses references and motifs and different things from all of the different Final Fantasies, and it even actually makes it a part of its story. Without getting into too much detail, every Final Fantasy game is kind of different. They have the same thematics in a type of way, but the characters, the places, all of it's just brand new. And so they kind of made a storyline around the idea that all of these places exist and they can all bleed into each other. And it pays homage to all of the other Final Fantasy games that I also adore. Growing up playing all of the games, and they just came out with a brand new expansion, and it was ass. It sucked. So I had to say, all right, I think I'm done for a minute. I think I'm going to have to put it aside for a minute, but Final Fantasy 14, hands down, that'd be the game that I would say amongst all the other games that I played is the game that I have dedicated most of my life to.
So you must really hate it when DSP plays the Final Fantasy games.
I am actually very glad that he didn't make it to Costa del Sol where they had the titties out, because you knew he was going to have to say something about it. That's.
But he sure did love the Yakuza with the naked dudes in the sauna.
Yeah, kind of makes you think. He's
Almost
never
like it's a
going to beat
pattern.
the allegations. It's a tick for sure. It's like when he bites on his thumb, when a certain style of individual shows up on the screen.
Yeah. So I want to pick your brain because you are a 20-year veteran in the wrestling industry. And you've seen a lot of stuff. You have great knowledge. So I want to pick your brain a bit here. Who do you think
Let's go.
Male and female, best wrestler in the world today.
Man, easy. Randy Orton. Randy Orton male. Pretty much because he's done it for so long. He's so smart with what he does. And now in my later years doing professional wrestling, I've come to appreciate and really uh, try to pattern myself after less is more when it comes down to anything that you do in the ring. For an example, Randy Orton literally takes like 5 minutes to walk to the ring, and then another 2 minutes to get up on the post and then throw his arms up. The less is more. That's why you have people like Roman Reigns also being such the huge star that he is. The level of superstardom that you have is also equivalent to how slowly you walk out to the ring. Think The Undertaker, think Randy Orton, think Roman Reigns. I mean, there you go. Look at this.
Oh, we
Very
got kind of
cool.
Sav.
Let's go. Thank you. That is the male side. You said the male and the female.
Yeah.
Another WWE superstar, Io Sky, is
Ooh,
hands
that's a
down
good
the
one.
best female wrestler of all time, modern time and all time.
So, as a wrestler, especially you've seen 20 plus years, what's more important to you? A 5-star match or telling a story?
Telling a story, hands down, without fail. The reason why people really like wrestling is because wrestling can be anything. It could be the 5-star classic matches, it could be the work rate, it could be the graps, but it could also be comedy. It could also be death matches. It could literally be framed as anything. If it's pro wrestling, automatically you kind of turn your imagination up and you buy into it. As long as everybody's in on it, that's the appeal of what pro wrestling is. So when it comes to telling a story, okay, so I was told once upon a time by one of my betters that you would want to have the car ride home from the show, have the conversation be about the thing that you did on the show. And it's never, oh my God, he did that very cool tope suicida, landed on his feet, ran over to the other side and did it like that. There's an audience for that, all right? You have to also kind of know who you're working in front of, which is another kind of aspect to it. But in the sense of like telling a story, you want to be the one that when everybody's in the car on the way back from the show, they'll say, remember when that guy did this? And a lot of the times, you don't need to do a very cool wrestling move or you have to be technically proficient in joint manipulation. You just have to be able to capture that crowd in that moment in the short, brief time that you're out there in front of everybody. So it's going to be a cop out when it comes to this answer, but there's going to be an audience for the people that want the 5-star class. They're going to want the Kenny Omega matches, but then they're also going to want something silly like a Santino Marella or I'm trying to think of a modern day equivalent, like an R-Truth, obviously. Like, if you think about it, you want to be the type of performer where you don't have to be reliant on hitting this cool 680 move every night for 300 days out of the year, rather than be the guy that does a weird gesture with his hand that then turns into a little like a poke of doom in your neck and you're supposed to sell it.
Oh, that was one of the worst moments from WCW. Hogan and Nash, finger poke of doom.
Growing up and seeing WCW literally implode, the Crash TV style. Okay, so for all of the Crash TV style Vince Russo stuff that WCW was notorious for, they also gave a nationwide audience their first look at the Lucha Libre stuff. And growing up watching pro wrestling and seeing the Crusadors do their thing on WCW, I still remember I would try to record every one of the cruiserweight matches that I would watch on Nitro just so I can watch them back and see how they did all of these crazy wild moves, which then obviously like goes back to what kind of story you're telling, or if you're trying to establish that you are a good hand inside of the ring. The luchadors, man, there's just something about that fast, phonetic energy to where they're going to be doing all of this wild shit. And then if you think the amount of stuff that you see in American pro wrestling, if you've never seen lucha wrestling before, now's the perfect opportunity to do so because obviously now the WWE snatched up AAA. They've been putting a lot of their shows and a lot of their people and kind of mixing their stars together. You had that Mr. Iguana dude showing up on the Royal Rumble, and he has this pet iguana dude. Like,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
wrestling is ridiculous, and I think that's like the appeal of it to a lot of people. And I've said this in a couple of streams before. It's super easy for any of us to kind of adopt that pro wrestling persona where you're just, I'm gonna cut a promo on you, dude, and this is how it's gonna be, and we're gonna, whatever. And you see it a lot in the LOLCOW stuff too, obviously. Hey, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Who do you think who cuts the best LOLCOW promo? Is it DSP, a Cyrax, a PWR?
As much as I hate him, as much as I don't like him, I would have to say PWR cuts the best one because
Damn, that's it.
LTG, it's so bland and you're just like, get his ass, man. He's a NPC. Blah 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 blah. It's just flat. With DSP, it's like, are you retarded or something? Like, he doesn't make any sense, and he talks about the background and this and that. Like, oh, he's an idiot. But see, PWR, you said I never said anything nice about you. There you go. I said something nice about you, which is a
Oh
low
yeah,
bar
you know
when you
his
talk
ass
about
is gonna be
LTG and
watching
DSP.
this. You know he's going to be watching this, and you know what? I'm also of the mind to give PWR a dub when appropriate. I'll give him the lowercase dub. He does cut a good promo, cuts one better than DSP, and I'll dare say cuts one better than Rax because he'll go for the low-hanging fruit. He'll just go for the slurs. He'll just go for the Reddit joke. He'll just go for the 4chan joke. Just for saying the word is enough for him. Apparently, he doesn't have any meaning behind it. He'll just, very low hanging fruit when it comes to that kind of stuff. There's no eloquence. There's no like tact to it. At least PWR, when you listen to him run someone down, which I think was also kind of the appeal of watching him when he was talking to people on the Discord, was that he would come out of left field with some wild shit that you would have never thought that anybody would say, actually. But I'm gonna push back a little bit, and there's no conflict in this movie. Well, I would dare say that LTG actually has a pretty robust toolkit when it comes to dressing somebody down verbally, because there are times when he legit makes me like laugh out loud with the shit that he'll say about somebody.
And I agree with that. Like, there's moments where there's gold dust where LTG speaks, but I would say that PWR, because he's so new, like the other guys have been doing it 20 years. So when you see PWR, the way he speaks, the word he says, nobody else talks like him. Nobody else uses the words he uses, so it's funny when he says it. So when he says effing boneheads, effing cowards, refuses to swear. Remember when he was at his mom's? And he'd be like,
What is
oh, my
the
mom's not
story
home.
about? I'm
so
sorry, I didn't mean to thumb.
Oh, no problem. And he'd be like,
I didn't mean to thumb you in the eye. My bad.
oh, no problem. And he'd be like, oh, my mom's not home, so I can say anything, any effing thing I want. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So, what is the deal? I was trying to ask the internet last night, but I need to get confirmation. I don't brigade. I don't want that. I don't want that stigma attached. But like, what's the deal with PWR's mom? Did I hear that she passed away? Is this true?
I did not hear anything about that.
Maybe I'm tripping. Okay, so this is the internet, obviously. So please take everything that is said with a grain of salt, which is why I'm
Yeah.
kind of like putting the disclaimer out there that I'm just hearing it, and so I'm trying to like get some, you know, um, get some clarity on it because I don't want to be spreading misinformation and shit. But I don't know. Okay, so I swear there's a point to this. You saw that photograph that you brought up
Yeah.
where PWR had that post with the front page or whatever. If you notice, that's not a two-story house. Like you have the first floor and maybe the basement, but he said that he was on the second floor of wherever he was. So I've said it from the jump that wherever he got that image from was definitely not the place that he was going. He probably just Google searched the
Right.
word and then grabbed the first thing off of Google.
Now, in the past, he has said he's gone to lawyers about property and all this other stuff. So maybe his mom was sick. Hopefully she's not. Like, even though I don't like him, I don't want anything to happen to his mom. But
Absolutely, and I wish he would like go out of his way to say those things too, because like all the time. We got people coming through from his side of the street and going, that he said this and you're saying this, and it's like, dude, it's jokes, bro.
Yeah.
It's all jokes, and we're not. All we're doing is reporting on what your dumbass is doing sometimes. So
And
it's like you're gonna get the carrot and the stick, dude. Like you're gonna get the dubs with the L. So
well, the whole thing about PWR too is he's a person that's not meant to be online as a public figure. He can't take criticism. He can't take anyone pushing back on him. He wants only positive things. You say anything negative, you're banned, you're gone. You're abusing me. You're molesting my career.
it's crazy the lexicon, the words that he
Yeah.
uses, the portraits he paints with what he says. It goes to, and this is, I'm just using what he said. It's just a reflection of his character. The way that he goes to these things to excuse me, get his point across, which is unfortunate. It just goes to show like the level of, intelligence that he wants to engage with other people.
So speaking of PWR, what was your first reaction when you saw him on Twitter freaking out, threatened to off himself, threatened to off detractors? He was suicide invaded. He was making all those videos. What was your first thought when you saw all that?
So this is actually coming up on the 1 year anniversary of us meeting PWR because it was WrestleMania season, because he was threatening to thrill himself in the name of DSP after WrestleMania. And then he also switched it to after he would play Duke Nukem and eat some pizza or whatever. So when he was first doing this, I left it alone and I didn't say anything about it because I didn't know, like, this was like brand new shit and everybody was talking about it. So I intentionally at the time did not say anything about it because I didn't know how serious it all was. But come to find out, like after, the entire year that we've known him, not only has he done this before, he's done this before in other communities over other shit. He started doing the same shit with people on Reddit over the Burger King subreddit. He
Word
was
for
doing
word,
this
too.
shit for the Cinemassacre. And there was a pattern of him going through social circles, through communities, and in all of these things. And who's not to say that obviously he's a fan of Burger King or he's not a fan of Cinemassacre or whatever, but he just ends up, and tell me if I'm telling lies, it just seems that whenever his presence is around any type of community or function or literal area around him, it's just such chaos that everybody's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And all you have to do is look at what he was doing earlier today when he walked his happy ass to the bar, I guess, and was like live streaming it to the point where somebody came over and was like, bro, you gotta stop. Where is this coming from? This is coming from the same place where his maintenance guy came through at his apartment, his mom coming through, bro. It's a pattern. We've seen this before. And when we first came across him and he started interacting with the DSP crowd, I didn't like interact with it. I left it alone. But then when he disappeared for those couple of days, when he like had that hard deadline that he was going to do it, and then he made that fucking video, Jesus Christ, dude.
Multiple
You
videos.
would think you would think that acting this way on the internet is attention-seeking behavior. Like it was ketchup or what hot sauce or whatever the fuck. This is the same attention-seeking behavior that he was doing in these other communities, and he was now trying it on the vortex at large. So when he came back from, his supposed deadline of when he was going to do all this shit after WrestleMania or whatever, that's when I kind of latched onto it, and obviously the rest is history. He started doing all of the merchandise stuff, and just like it was like light taps, and he was taking it like really, really, really seriously, which was, incredibly fucking.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel sad for him. Like, he thinks I hate his guts, but I don't. Like, honestly, I feel, I don't want to say bad for him, but it's sad. Because if you look at everything he goes on about, it's about his childhood. Usually when people do that, they're holding on to that because they have nothing as an adult. So they
Exactly,
go
perpetually
around and
stuck in the
around, yeah.
past.
So he's refusing mentally to actually move on and be an adult and grow and evolve, because that's the whole point of life. You become an adult, you grow, you evolve, you have family, you have kids, you have all that stuff. And he thinks back to a time where he had his mom, his dad, they did what he wanted, he got everything he wanted, and now he has nothing. So he's mentally stuck in that era where he actually had something going on.
You said something in one of your videos. It was like failure to launch, Peter Pan syndrome,
Yes.
perpetually living in the past, because like there's no future. There's no future. And apparently, he's had a troubled life. He's, obviously let us know all about it. And to that end, like it's always to the end that like a lot of the time when we say these things and when we talk about him, like we're kind of like in a backwards type of way rooting for him, because I've said it before on the streams, like whenever PWR is doing good, like I'm doing good, because then I don't have to like, say, hey, look at what he's doing this time. I'll actually have like time to, in order to do other things. It's fun when we all get together and we see what PWR is getting into. And it's not like um when we watch DSP, for an example. Like his shit is so tired and boring, and like if you can turn your brain off and the Level 1 podcast would have come and gone and you wouldn't know what the fuck he was talking about. But when you're sitting there and you're just hanging out and you're talking and PWR is on in the background, out of left field, whether it be him or somebody in his chat that elicits some sort of reaction out of him, and just the way that he says stuff, dude. And we've made no comparison. Like there is no comparison. PWR is far more entertaining than DSP is. So
I agree.
when he does happen to live stream, it's almost like an oasis in the desert that is the black hole of DSP's charisma.
Well, the whole thing too is he went to work with Kino Casino, and the whole thing about drama and Kino Casino is you all work together. So he'll say something, they'll report on it, he'll say something back, and it's a back and forth. It's an ecosystem where everyone works together. But he won't let his ego go to actually work along that. And if he let his ego down, he actually took criticism, and he didn't do drugs or cut his forehead with a blade, he would actually be wholesome. He would actually be someone people liked and actually wanted to watch.
So hey, can I drill down into this cutting himself thing?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. So I know a lot of people can be or are troubled by the idea of him cutting himself like that. And I get it. Like the optics of it is terrible, obviously. But let's just say you frame it in the pro wrestling world, which is something that I would not recommend you doing frequently. But let's just put our pro wrestling caps on for this one. He was mimicking, his childhood hero, Shawn Michaels. He's hot for Shawn, dude. And in the match that he was watching, he was wrestling The Undertaker. And of course, in pro wrestling, if you wanted to sell the drama of the match, a common trope that you would do is literally taking a little blade and dragging it across your forehead, drawing blood, and saying it out loud to people that don't follow wrestling. You may think, that's absolutely barbaric and insane. Why would anybody want to do that? I wish I can tell you. I don't know why. I've never done it. But in this case, PWR was trying to mimic Shawn Michaels by doing the gig on the forehead. And when I frame it like that, or maybe because I've been around it and I've watched it so much, it's kind of dulled on me. But like thinking about it outside of myself as somebody that's been exposed to that stuff for such a long time, I could see why that was such a troubling thing to see him have happen. Not to diminish it at all, obviously, but I wanted to kind of also frame it in that space where he was doing it, but not in the way that he was doing it like when we first met him, when he was pretending to do what he was going to do.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. And it goes back to that failure of the launch. So the match was like 1997, 1998, around that.
The late 1900s.
Yeah. So it's that period where it was his childhood. So he's living through Shawn Michaels again. He's doing the moves in the match. He's cutting his head because Shawn cut himself. So just like actors and other celebrities that people live through when they have nothing else going on in their life. That's what PWR did. He was living through Shawn Michaels. So I don't think he actually thought about cutting his forehead. I think he did it because he was in that moment. So he was living through him.
I could see that. I could see that. And then that also goes back to when PWR was first taking phone calls from everybody. And he was kind of telling everybody, you have to not cuss. And people were like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss and stuff like that. Like when we first started talking to him. He was called vulnerable. And that really, really like upset him. Like being described as somebody that was vulnerable really upset him. But then that kind of like really shone the light. Like obviously there's a vulnerability there because just like what you're saying, he's got nothing going on. So he's living vicariously through his old games or, pro wrestling matches from 20 years ago instead of applying that dedication and time to building up something to benefit him. He's talking about a legacy and a career and all that stuff. All I see him doing is sitting in front of the television and sitting in front of the laptop, talking about the same stuff that we do. He's turned into the thing that he hates. This is the thing that makes me so fucking so justified in all of this. He was sitting there on his soapbox, bro, and he was sitting there going, you guys you're the bad guys, you're the villains in all this. I'm the righteous one. Where have we heard this one before, right? Again, living vicariously through one of his childhood heroes, DSP, getting up on his soapbox saying how much better he is than everybody else. Meanwhile, turning around and doing the exact same thing that we do. It's another one of those DSP isms where it's like he will, lambast and he will shit on and he will just drag this random thing, whatever it is, through the dirt, only to turn around and then do that thing or be that thing.
And I agree with that as well. And what I think is PWR, because he's got nothing else going on and he lives through other people, he's like a sponge. So he'll take a little part of DSP, he'll take a little part of AVGN, and all these people he idolizes, puts it in himself to try to make himself look like them, live through them, and say he has a career. When obviously he doesn't, but he doesn't live in reality. Unfortunately, his mind is delusional, and obviously with the drugs, the rubbing alcohol, the rat poison, all the stuff he ingests into his body, it affects him as well.
This is so weird to me because the way he blatantly kind of puts it out there, I feel like it's a performance, whether it be something that he's actually doing or something that he's like gimmicked. Because again, unreliable narrator, just like DSP,
Of course.
just like, anything that you see on the internet nowadays. I just saw a little field trip here. I was looking at something on Twitter and it was like some sort of highlight reel or some sort of pilot footage of something, and I'm looking at it and it said that it was from the 1980s, whatever. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, there's no way. Like this must have been done with a prompt in AI, and they're saying it's from the 1980s because it was like the aesthetic of it, the way the camera looked and all of this stuff. It just goes to the larger theme here. Like I can't rely on DSP or a PWR or anything that I see on the internet to even be close to what they're portraying. We are all so susceptible to the propaganda. It happens so often. And so every time I see him acting out this way, I'm thinking to myself, is this really rubbing alcohol? Is he just putting us on? Is he just pretending? Is he just faking? So the whole thing of it is the only way to win is to not play, is to not give it the attention. But then at the same time, obviously we're giving him the attention that he's so, that he wants.
That is true, but at the same time, is he making some stuff up but lying about other stuff? Is he doing some stuff so you go, oh, those drugs I did on stream, they're not real, just like the rubbing alcohol, that's not real. Like he could be making up the dumbest things, because if you look at his past, his Reddit history, all the drugs he talked about, if you look at the article in CBC, he had a drug history. So there is a pattern of drugness and addiction. And I believe he does have an addiction, but I believe it's out of control. If you notice how much he's drinking now, before it was like, I'll drink here or there, I'll do shots. Now it's like, I'm going to a bar, I'm drinking all this alcohol. There was one where he had like 3 different bottles on stream, and he started throwing up like crazy. So I think after he got out of his mom's house, which was the worst mistake he ever did, there was no one supervising him, which means his demons are running wild. His addictions are running wild, and there's no one to tell him, stop that, get in his face, this is the reality, you need to stop this. And then you have people in his chat, his kick chat, that are encouraging him, saying, come on, I'll give you money if you drink, I'll give you money if you do this. And they're enabling that activity, and in his mind, oh, that means they like me, they're giving me money just like DSP, so I should do this more often. And all of a sudden, it rolls and rolls, and all of a sudden the addictions are out of control.
The parasocial situation when it comes to streamers and the chat and all of that, it is definitely something to really take a good look at and to really understand, because a lot of people sometimes fall under that spell. And that goes beyond just like streaming. It could be a thing with pro wrestling as well. You can have people that are super fans, for an example. You can have people who, obviously are drawn to wrestling for different reasons. And, it would be unfair to just label it as like a streamer, PWR, kick chat type thing. It happens all over the place, but it doesn't make it okay either. Um, I make no illusions about it. I always say it out loud and proud that anytime people give PWR money, there's a good chance that it's going to his vices. And if you're okay with that, I can't be the one to tell you that that's a bad thing, but I want you to understand that that more than likely is the thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, there's people who give him money hoping that he gets better for actual good reasons. And then there's other people as well, like you said. But I think PWR is a person who needs time to himself offline. He needs friends. He needs people to talk to. He needs some sort of social connection offline. And he's not getting it right now.
And a lot of the times, like, there's probably like a handful of times me and him actually talked on Discord. And it was really only the last time that we talked on Discord. I think it was on the Christmas marathon stream that DSP had. And we actually had a very amicable conversation. It was cordial. The holiday season, man, the one time of year where, just live and let live and all of that. So, I know Ames have also had conversations with PWR where it wasn't at each other's throat and they were, chopping it up about their love for pro wrestling and the stuff. And so I always go back to the idea that, like, if there's any like aggro, if there's any anger, if there's any animosity, it's all one-sided. And I'm not responsible for his opinion of me, because he'll go from, oh, if me and Lord Diaz were at a bar or this, that, or the other, or we were watching Raw at the Buffalo Wild Wings, we would probably get along. I mean, I don't know. I don't see why not. But like, then also, I know that he's very bipolar because he said as much and he acts as much. It's going to swing. It's going to ebb and flow. The pendulum's going to swing to the other side. He's going to wish that I slip on a banana peel and break my neck.
Yeah, and even like that DSP stream, I even went to him on Discord. I was like, hey, I see you're having a bad time. I hope you're feeling better. Drink some Gatorade. I tried to be nice to him. And he was nice for me a while after that. But then all of a sudden, like you said, the bipolar just switched on. And he just got angry at me again. And even after that, I was still nice to him in the DMs. And it was weird because his response was half angry, half appreciative. Because he kept saying, I appreciate this. Thank you for that. So I tried to have a conversation with him. Like, I tried to be nice about it. I tried to say nice things to him. And I was being honest. Like, and no offense to you, Lore, but he was actually the one I was going to have the first episode with. and I was gonna be nice. I
Ah,
was gonna be professional. So like how we're going back and forth here, and we're saying nice things and we're respectful. I would have done the same thing for him. So
absolutely. And plus, like, why would you want to get in the way of making content?
yeah,
You know, he's leaving money on the table.
and even I was gonna have a stream, you and him, in like a wrestling trivia, and I was gonna moderate it. So
I
there was
remember he was shit talking it too.
yeah, there was no gotcha. There was no oh, this is the 666 podcast straight out of fucking hell or anything like that. I was actually gonna have a real conversation with him because I want to know the real person there. I don't want to know PWR. I want to know the person behind it, and I just want to ask him questions and talk. But
Yeah, and I think a lot of people
yeah,
would have been hot for it too. I mean, I know everybody's hot for, you know, the conversation that we're having now, but you know, it's crazy to think that like this would be a type of attraction where it's like, hey, let's just all get together and chop it up and then see what happens. And listen, behind the scenes style stuff, like obviously I've done engineering for some podcasts and some channels before. You always want to have like the straight call, the straight like play-by-play guy, and you want to have the color commentator. If you know the greats, if you know the greats coming up through wrestling with the announcers, you always want to have like the Jim Ross, the one that's clinical, the one that's going to call the moves and call the action, and then you're going to have a Jerry the King Lawler who's going to egg on and cheer for the heel and be the defiant voice. So you don't have two people sitting there agreeing with each other for 2 hours on the Monday night. You need to have that conflict, and I feel like, you know, if we framed it in such a way to where we'll go, hey, behind the scenes, let's just have a little bit of fun while we're out there. We can needle each other a little bit, all in the name of a good show, you know? And then leave whatever is said out there, you know, and then after the fact, just be like, hey, that was a good show. I hoped everybody enjoyed it, you know? At the end of the day, just like what you were saying, it's not a gotcha. It's just like, hey, let's see what we can do because obviously there's a lot of people that take interest in this, which I think is amazing, by the way, and I appreciate that. A lot of people come to like you and me and say, hey, the reason why I know about PWR is because of you. So, hey, you're welcome, PWR. A lot, you could say a lot about us, but the free advertising that you and DSP has, always talking about their detractors, that does nothing but amplify our signal. And then, you know, if it wasn't for people going, oh, look, PWR is at the bar right now, he's getting kicked out, guaranteed that that drove traffic to his videos.
yeah,
So again, it's like when PWR does good, we all do good.
yeah, and the whole thing too is he's a wrestling fan. He's this super fanatic, but he doesn't understand. You build something up like a WrestleMania, piece by piece by piece, so you get people interested in it. You come out there, and like you said, with the three people, you would have, let's say, a straight person, a person in the industry, and you have a person that's over the top, a character. Imagine if the three of us did a show together, like a Smart Guys, and we talk about wrestling.
I would even have all of us sitting around live reacting to like a WrestleMania match or something like that.
Yeah,
The way that he was doing it on Kick.
yeah, we could always take, let's say, a pay per view, and we can always talk about it. We can break it down. We can have our opinions, and of course, he would be the over the top character. You would analyze the match, and I would be somewhere in between. Like it would be a good time.
I would
But
love to be able to like sit and watch wrestling. Like that's what I've been doing on Kick. Like usually after a stream, I turn off the YouTube and the Twitch side of things, and then I just watch a little bit more TOS not friendly stuff on Kick exclusively for the after party. And a lot of those end up being like Japanese death matches, the Joshi matches, and stuff like that. I like being able to like say, "Oh, hey, by the way, this thing happened because of this." And I like kind of pointing out the little intricacies that maybe a lot of people might miss when they're watching a pro wrestling match, and I love bringing that to the forefront because after watching as much wrestling as I have, obviously because I need to know what is like current and what people are doing and what like the crowds are reacting to. You have to know the industry that you're working in.
yeah,
Being able to say, you know why this happened? Well, watch this, and then think about it like this. I would love to provide the opportunity to kind of show the little nuances of pro wrestling that a lot of people may not pick up on. But once you see it, once you kind of see the little magic trick, you go, huh, that is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and like you can go on about the matches and the in betweens and behind the scenes stuff. He can go out about his childhood and how much he loved this and all this other stuff. And I can kind of like, you know, structure stuff so that everything flows better. And I think like the three of us would make a good smart guys, but PWR has to put his ego aside. He has to be able to laugh at himself and take a joke. And I don't know if he's able to do that. Also, he has to stay sober too. He can do the
Yeah,
Ames crap.
he's
He
not
can
very
do the Ames
reliable.
crap, but not anything else.
I wouldn't even know about that. What's in that e-peen he's putting in his mouth all the time? Who knows?
Well, that was so funny too, because for the longest time he would rag on you and Ames for that Ames crap, but he would do it himself for money on stream.
Exactly. Going back to the hypocrite side of these lolcows. They'll sit on their soapbox and say, "You are a bad person for this," and then turn around and do the exact same thing.
So I wanted to ask you about a certain night. There was a night I was premiering a video, and PWR decided to go in my chat, and he was streaming before
Yes.
this, and he didn't realize the camera was still on. Wow, that sounds like DSP. And then you were caught in the middle. You had the perfect stream there because you had chat from both of us. Explain what you felt on that night.
I am so glad you asked this question because I feel like that was really the turning point. I feel like that was like the Nexus spaghetti moment in the career because when you were dropping these nuclear tactical nukes from space on PWR, I was telling you about this earlier when we were talking before this. If it wasn't for Dashfire's comprehensive coverage of DSP, me doing the live reacts to it, that was like the foundation that I built my channel on. I would always go to Dashfire's videos in order to get my information when it came to these things. A very rich and robust and fair and analytical and very straight laced, but also sprinkled with some stabs and stuff and such. That was like my kind of foot in the door to getting uh, more familiar with all of these locales. And so PWR, when he came onto the scene and we were all kind of like following him and seeing what he was getting into, when you put out that PWR video, you knew I had to watch it. And I apologize also. I hope that I can retroactively apologize for taking all the day one views because you were dropping these videos and I was literally watching them that evening.
Well, you don't have to apologize because I actually remember I made a video on that as well right after.
Yes, and the thing of it was when he got kicked off of his stream or he turned off his stream or whatever, when he was spurging out over the tactical nuke that you dropped on him, he forgot that he was still live. And so then we come to find out that he doesn't type when he talks. He does the speech to text, and he does it with everything. And if you look back on all of his posts and all of his other interactions on the internet, there's no punctuation or anything like that, dude. So it's just a stream of consciousness, vomit of the mouth, straight out the dome. And I was watching it. Sav actually came over in the chat and said PWR is live, but he doesn't know he's live. And I'm like, because I was faded, all right? I was faded. I didn't understand the gravity of the situation. And then like somebody else came through and was like, you need to turn on PWR right now. And I was like, what the fuck? I turned the shit on. I had his chat on. I had your chat on. I had my chat on. And of course, I was suffering from the success of another great stream. And being able to see that PWR didn't know that I thought that anything could have happened, bro. And that goes back to the chaos and just the anything could happen crash TV event television that was the early PWR streams. when you then covered me covering that, I remember listening and watching that while I was out in the field working. So it was incredible to me as a content creator to have somebody else cover the moment that happened on my stream on your content. And I now understand why it's so cool to see somebody use your stuff on their channel.
And the whole thing is, so the first video I put out on PWR with just my regular stuff, I show all the crazy tweets he put out. I give my analytics on it. And he crashes out over that. I thought that first video was going to be a one and done, just like all the other dents. But then the next
you
day
sweet
after
summer
that,
child.
yeah, the next day after that video went out, I got a DM from him with voicemail. And he kept saying, "You effing bastard." And he kept saying how I ruined his career. His mom is angry and she wants to talk to me. So I go, "Okay, I'll talk to your mom." And he blocks me right away. So I put out the video and then he responds to that. Then I put out another video and he responds to that. And it's the weirdest thing ever. So up to this point, I have never been the subject matter of any video. So me reported on myself was the weirdest feeling ever.
Yeah.
And I remember it was the voice line that I remember from that crash out video he did. "Oh, I guess my career's over. Dash fire ruined my career, I guess." And it was amazing.
That is one of the best sound effects that you could possibly have on your soundboard. And I actually have a button on my Stream Deck. I have a command on the stream. So when anybody does the exclamation point PWR command, you get a random curated PWR sound effect from a random board of all of these sound effects that I've gotten over his live streams. There's just, I said this once when I got really mad at him. I was saying that he was nothing more than one of those pull string dummies that says goofy things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then that's the thing too. So he's so much more exciting to watch than DSP and LTG and especially RTU, that fat fuck, because he's like an explosion that's going to go off at any moment and you don't know it. You're just waiting for it. With DSP, you got to wait like 8 hours for something to happen. So PWR,
And
I
it's
just gave you
so
another
rough.
W there, by the way.
Wasn't it funny when Review Tech USA was trying to get in on the fun? Like, it was
Oh
fun,
my
dude, at the
God.
very, very early beginning of this, like before Kino Casino picked them up. Everybody was in on it. Everybody was in the chat. I remember Big Birds was giving them hell. Everybody was just so fucking funny, dude. Like, so fucking funny. Like, Snort Hogan, bro, was like one of the mods for
Oh, yeah.
PWR, got into his good graces, and then started unbanning everybody.
And then he banned all the Kino people.
Oh my God. Okay, so let me ask you a thing. Why do you think the Kino Casino stopped covering PWR?
Well, it's kind of funny. So it was around the stream where I did his Reddit stuff. So there's a clip of PvP saying, "Oh, we don't want to cover PWR anymore. We saw some like Discord messages or something, how he's on crystal meth." So I think in a part, somebody saw my stream, told them about it, and they're like, "This guy's a liability. We can't have our hands on this. We got to get out of this." And then, of course, the crash out streams happen and this and that. I think he was a tool to be used against Phil after the breakup. So if you look at the
Yes,
time
yes.
they grabbed the PWR from us, it was around the breakup time. And they thought, "Oh, it's funny. Let's take this dent and give him more views and more money than DSP. And then laugh about it on the show and have content." But eventually, PWR did not do anything with them. They wanted to do content with PWR, and he refused to do anything. So they got tired. Then they saw the drug addiction stuff, and they're like, "Nope, nope, nope, we're not doing this."
They're washing their hands of them. I'm kind of glad that Kino Casino decided to stop covering them because that kind of made our channels a little bit more exclusive when it comes to that sweet, sweet PWR content. So it's almost like a blessing because I've been, it was crazy to see Kino Casino like really putting like the spotlight on PWR and then everybody also getting in on the joke. But to that point, what you were saying, I think I agree too, because as soon as he got all of that Kino Casino money, like you know where it went. Like
Yeah,
this,
moving out of his
if
mom
it
in 2 weeks.
Jesus God, like at least like hold on to that money for a little bit, dude. And we all said the same thing. Like that was probably the worst thing he could have done, not only for his career, because once he actually got out on his own and started doing like his own content, like his gameplay stuff, and don't get me wrong, I know there's a contingency of people out there that actually watch him for his gameplay stuff and his like and all of that other stuff, but like once he moved out of the mom's house, which also, by the way, isn't it crazy that he now retconned the whole mom thing, saying that she never existed? So
Well,
what am I to believe? Like, did he
that's like a
give this
DSP
massive
thing.
L that he had to like king snake everybody to go, yeah, she actually never existed. I didn't actually get in trouble with my mom. A 35-year-old man getting in trouble with their mom. Fuck out of here, bro.
Well, I love that he lies and says, "Oh, Dashfire says I'm a liar and a grifter," but then says, "Oh, at the time I got out of rehab. I had to make money, so I decided to steal money from the detractors and pretend to be someone else and pretend to be a fan of DSP." So that's lying and grifting. So you
It
told us you're
almost
doing it.
reminds me. Exactly. He was telling us his master plan. He was monologuing. Remember he was like saying that, as soon as I got out of rehab, I had to get some money and I saw the biggest marks of them all, the detractors. If I started pretending to like DSP, they would all give me money out of spite just to fuck with DSP. So, okay, let's just think here for a second that he had this master plan as soon as he got out of rehab in order to get money to do what? To relapse. Very cool. So everybody's enabling. Excellent. Very cool. Kino Casino is probably the smartest one going, all right, we're going to just leave him alone. We're going to leave him alone. Leave him to his own devices. We got our own things going on here. And then also blessing us in a backhanded type of way so that now people come into these channels for the PWR stuff. Only for him, bro, to then just be like, excuse me, only for him to be like Pasta Eric. Remember him from back in the day?
Oh
Like I
yeah.
I completely missed out on him. Like I kind of came in right after. He was kind of like he was in for a little bit, but then he was gone. Like I'm not too familiar with Pasta Eric, but obviously going back to the archives, I know a little bit. It gave me a big Pasta Eric vibe, and I was like, huh, this guy comes out of nowhere, looks at the community, and thinks I might be able to uh, get some money out of these people. Let's just run with this. Let's just see what happens.
So with Pasta Eric Miller, he was a detractor who tried to lie and grift as well. So he wasn't even a pastor. He lied about that too. And he went after Duty.
Shocking.
He went after Snore Hogan. He went after basically any detractor that was black. And he was saying,
Yikes.
they're not real men. I'm taking their manhood. And you know what happens when you go after all, Snort Hogan and Duty and all that? They're like,
Wouldn't
no, no,
recommend.
no. We're going to put you in your place. And when he became a DSP detractor, he started getting monetized on YouTube. So he started making money. It all went to his head, just like PWR. And he started
Surprise,
yelling and
surprise.
screaming and thinking, oh, I'm better than everyone else. I'm the top detractor. And then his head was so filled up. I think he was at one point, was it 1,352 subscribers. He started picking fights with Duty and Snore Hogan. All of a sudden, he was at like 600 and something subs. And then he was just gone.
This Yeah, he disappeared off the face of the earth. I heard he's not doing too well, so I guess
So,
goodbye to them, I guess.
yeah, so I went back and actually looked at his channel. So apparently his wife divorced him. He went on an
Oof.
incel rant saying how all women
Oof.
are whores and this and that, and how
Uh-oh,
men
sounds
are
familiar.
stupid for getting married. He was just going all over the
Eh.
place, mental breakdowns.
Based.
Yeah. So let me ask you
Crazy
about
to think.
another stream too.
Okay.
What did you think about the Sims prison stream where we all got killed?
That's when I knew. That's when I knew I made it. When another person dedicated their time to create me in a game
You
and
got a
then
specialty death too.
destroy me. A brother, like that's like the gold star. That like kind of legitimized me, as a detractor. When you have somebody literally wishing the worst upon you, then I feel like you kind of like hit the goal. And it was great too because I was standing shoulder to shoulder with a Snort Hogan, with a Duty, with a Dash Fire. Like we were all standing hand in hand inside of the den of debauchery, dude.
Well, I will be glad to. He killed us before he made Snort Hogan gay and all those other people.
Again, he's projecting. He's projecting like all of these things that he's like, "Oh, look at." First off, by the way, let's just look at it from a different perspective for a second. He's implying that these kind of activities are frowned upon and looked down upon. I don't feel like he gives off like ally energy, but putting that aside, putting projecting these private intimate moments, that's a form of SA in my opinion. He's forcing digital avatars of his ops in these situations. I find it a sliver, like a very small slice, like a little gray area. I feel like that's revenge Cornish.
So if
It was
anyone
definitely
did not
corny.
see, yeah, if anyone did not see it, so basically he had a bunch of us in the game, killed us off in many different ways. I think he drowned you. And then there was Snort Hogan. I want to say It's a Gundam and Big Birds or
That's
someone
right.
else.
It's a Gundam.
Uh, so they got a special death. They hired a male stripper and then had sex with each other and then lit the whole thing on fire and killed them. And then he mocked them for having gay sex. Which, if you think in retrospect, I'm just saying, all that projection. And there's nothing wrong with that, but he has some issues he has to work out.
Yes, and let's kind of dive into that. We're going to dip our toe into it. He put a Yelp review of his most recent thrill with that companion, with that alternative companion.
Oh,
I'm going to
yeah.
just be blunt about it. This is my Theo theory. He's trying to make it seem like he rizzed this person up and then they took them home. I feel like there may have been a financial contribution involved, and I feel like the companionship was maybe purchased, and that's how the event happened. So I'm saying allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. This is my Theo theory. There was prostitution afoot.
I will add on to that. So he said he was at a bar. He was drinking. I think they were both desperate. She was desperate to make, or she, he, they, whatever. She was desperate to make money. He was desperate to get some. Last call comes. All of a sudden, oh, two people left. They're both desperate. Let's go see all those Hello Kitty plushies. And then
I can never
did
see
it.
Hello Kitty the same again.
Yeah. But he went into so much disgusting detail about that. Where he was talking about the hole and just sticking it in, and he's absolutely disgusting.
The fact that he would kind of put that information out there, like a very intimate moment with another human being, like take out the part that's the alternative part of it, take out the fact that they were inebriated and their inhibitions were lowered. Okay. Like take into consideration, would you want somebody that that you shared that type of intimate experience with, putting that business out there on the internet in front of a crowd of people, an audience of people that chronicle everything that happens, that is said, that is done on those streams? I just feel like that was like a very poor choice. But also, I feel that's parasocial relationship deal. He put that shit behind a Yelp review. He put that shit behind
25 subs, I
a
believe.
monetary goal. Yeah, it was a 25 gifted subs. Like
Oh, and
your
remember
intimate.
who did that? Remember who gave him the subs?
It was 220.
That's
It was
right.
220.
That sick bastard.
220 did the same to me and asking about my thrills, and I'm like, none of your fucking business.
What a sick bastard. But yeah, I think PWR has a lot of issues. I think he has some dark demons, dark skeletons in his closet. Because if you think about it, the stuff we know is absolutely disgusting, absolutely out of, just over the top. What do we not know? Because when we found him, he was the biggest incel we've ever seen. He was talking about bitches and OnlyFans and how they're whores and how can men do this? How can they pay for that? And what's he doing right now? He's paying for the OnlyFans. He's simping for people. He's gooning on stream. Not in the DSP way, but gooning on stream. And it's almost like a switch. Like it's out in the open. Boom, I'm going to start giving Anicia money. I'm going to start having sexual fantasies about RTU and all these other stuff. Like Melanie Mack saying he wants to breed Cat Bernal. What's your thoughts on him just going from incel to gooner?
So I'm going to actually say that it is a symptom of a larger problem, and that it's his bipolar. When he gets manic, when people get manic, they feel like they feel themselves. They get a lot more randy. They get a lot more horny, and his limited worldview is nothing but like Jeremy and the Quartering, Melanie Mack, Cat Bernal, like these are the females in his life, which is like 7 degrees of, social interaction. Because I'm sure that these people don't even know that he exists. I mean, maybe outside of Anissa, but like these are the people that he chose to lust after, like openly on the internet, and not like, I don't know if it's like a rib or if it's a gimmick or something like that, but a lot of truth is said in jest. And I think it also goes back to his bipolar manic depressive. When he gets into the manic states, he starts getting a little randy and he starts letting his feelings be known. He starts like starts feeling himself, and it comes in ebbs and flows. So he'll be like real horny on main for Anissa, and then at the same time, like you said, talking about breeding Cat Bernal, which is like a very disrespectful thing, even if it is a dark side Phil, which I think is hilarious.
But that even goes deeper, because he said Cat and Phil, he looks at them as mom and dad. So if he wants to breed Cat and looks at her as his mom, think about what that says.
That's some Chris Chan pilled action right there. Yikes.
Yeah.
And also, remember how he also sexualized his mom, calling her a piece of butt?
Didn't he call her something else in a newer stream, like "shut up, bitch" or something like that?
Yes, he definitely. Yeah. Okay, so like if she did pass away and he's still making these declarations, that's unfortunate. But I think also we're seeing another pattern, and this is a recent development. And again, unreliable narrator, misinformation on the internet. Please take it for a grain of salt. Allegedly,
Yeah,
whatever.
everything is alleged.
PWR is out here simping over his cousin. What?
I don't believe that for 1 second. I think even PWR has standards somewhat. They might be really, really low, but I don't think he would ever do anything with his cousin.
I have a feeling that maybe this cousin doesn't even exist, because if we're going by patterns, if we're going by pattern recognition, if he's saying that the mom didn't exist, that she was a figment of his imagination or a figment of his outward perception that we are experiencing, he does show symptoms of schizophrenia. I mean, he said as much. So who's not to say that maybe he's creating these cast of characters, this rogues gallery, this menagerie of people to, talk about on the internet. And obviously we're sitting here talking about it. So, mission accomplished.
Yeah, and the whole thing too is this Gooner switch happened at a very, very special moment in December. You mentioned it earlier. When he got his heart broken by DSP, that's when the switch went off. He wanted a rebound. He went through RTU looking for the BJ tapes. He wanted to see him in sexual situations, which, it is gross. He went to Anicia. He started talking about Kat and Melanie Mack, which is very weird because he called Melanie Mack a private bitch lined in gold, which he used to say back in the day. Well, I should say last year. But now he's kind of looping again. So it's the same thing over
there's definitely
and over.
loop.
But then something else happened too. So do you remember when we talked about it earlier, he got almost evicted because he was loud? And he thought his I still laugh at this. He thought his apartment was soundproof.
Yeah.
And then he kept going on and on saying, they told me it was soundproof. What's going on? They lied to me. And then started texting his built-in manager.
I think that's what got him evicted, bro. That was
Yeah.
probably like obviously the last straw, and then they were just trying to figure out the legalities of it, and then the fucking singing stream happened. I swear to God, I swear to God, I swear to God, I was watching that stream, and I knew that something special was going to happen, so I OBS'd it. I did the Worski thing where he's like, "Oh my God, the kill stream is turning into a pill stream while we're doing our 10-hour stream. Somebody OBS it. I'm already OBSing." I OBS'd it. All right. And lo and behold, I swear to God, I was listening to the stream downstairs while I was doing something else, second screen entertainment, while I was capturing it. During that second stream where he was just singing or whatever, I swear to God, I was hearing the door knocking. And I was like, is that me? Is that what's going on around here? I heard it for a half hour watching his stream, thinking that it was something going on in my house. So then when he turned the music down and the knocking continued and he had that conversation with the I forgot what the actual word of it was. It was like the property manager.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
so.
what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Property manager. I had secondhand schizophrenia from watching PWR because I thought the knocking on his stream was happening in my house.
Oh. And then
But
something.
I got this house for two reasons. One, they said they would allow animals, and two, they advertised it as soundproof.
Oh, and he kept saying that for like 2 hours straight. And then something else happened in that same stream is he decided he wants to get the biggest credit card ever, which is awesome when your money's going down to get a high interest credit card. And then he wanted to go to get a bank loan, and he asked everyone, pool your money together so I can get a duplex. And it's funny how he went from, I might get evicted, to, please give me money for a new place. And it tells you his
And
mindset
not only
too.
that, he said in one of his vertical video streams where he was showing off the gold chain, baby, and the cologne.
The
He said that he
$100
would
cologne.
never. Yes, the $100 cologne. The same stream where he said he would never ask his audience for money for rent.
Well, also keep in mind too, whether this is real or not, one of the very first things I put in a video that exposed him was when he made up a story about his dad to get a video game. Do you remember that?
I remember that. Do you want to say it or should
Sure.
I?
So,
You know what? I'll let you have it. I'll let you have it because it's rough. It's rough.
so for anyone that didn't see it, he made up a story about his dad molesting him, and he said he would tell people his dad molested him even though he didn't, if he didn't buy him a video game. And it was WWF
Gross.
Attitude, by the way, which is not one of the greatest games out there.
No.
But still, and guess how old he was? I want to know if anyone knows how old he was.
Was he 6'7"? So, I'm
He was 10 years old. And
Christ. Imagine being 10 years old and having those thoughts in your mind.
Well, not only that. So he said he didn't know right or wrong at 10 years old. So,
I could believe it. I'm sure he was a miserable addition to the family. I'm sure his parents were very stressed out having to deal with him.
but if you think about it too, all those stories about pissing his pants and shitting his pants in the store, banging on the doors to get a video game, it makes more sense since he didn't know what right and wrong was. Which absolutely blows my mind. At 10 years old, you should know that. But it's PWR.
Well,
though.
I mean, it definitely has. And I feel like the environment that he grew up on. I mean, maybe there's something that we don't know. Maybe he made it all up.
It's possible. And also, when he told that story on his stream, so this is not me making it up, this is not allegation, he said it himself. He started laughing and crying about it, saying it was epic that he made up a molestation story to get a video game.
Very
That's the
poor
person
thing.
who he is.
Yeah, and he says that the detractors are miserable pieces of shit. Meanwhile, he's out here saying this type of shit. Like, I'm not the type of person to police what other people say, but you have to have like a sense of decorum I think when you're doing like the social thing, when you're on a stream or stuff like that, if he's saying this shit just for shock value, I could see that. But like, it's still like tasteless and tactless, and it's low hanging fruit. There's no elegance to it. Like, okay, what's the joke? This is actually kind of shitty. Like, if you were really molested or if you knew someone that was really molested, maybe you wouldn't make such light of it. I mean, maybe I'm coping, maybe I'm a little too sensitive, but that just seems like in very poor taste.
Well, the whole thing too is when you say something on the internet to shock people, people take it seriously. Look at Wings of Redemption. So look at all the stuff he said about 13-year-olds and this and that, and he says it was shock value. 20 years later, look how he's perceived. And now PWR is going to do the same thing. And they're going to
Well, he
talk
said he
about
ruined his career.
yeah. He's going to talk about Pauline. They're going to talk about, his cousin. They're going to talk about his dad's story. It's not like it goes away. The internet is forever. So once you say something, it's always there. But he doesn't
And
realize
his word
that.
is shit too. His
Yeah.
word is shit. So even if he came back and said, "Hey guys, I was in a manic state, sometimes I say shit out of pocket because my mind goes to those places when I'm chemically imbalanced in that way. That's not who I am. I said it as this way. I didn't mean it like that." Like, okay, I would be able to give you some grace, but like unfortunately, you give us too many examples for us to not take your word for anything.
Well, remember, Lore, he robbed the detractors. He took everything from us.
He robbed the
Yeah.
casino, dude.
He was the king snake, remember? He took everything. This smart guy
Again,
who drinks
another
rubbing alcohol.
another original thought. I robbed the casino. Where did you get that one from, bro? I look, and I know a lot of us kind of skinwalk also, other creators in the space, and we say it ironically, like "whoa,
Yeah.
buddy" and all that shit. Good see you, like all of that stuff. We kind of like cherry pick the things that we like from other creators, and we say it back, and it's like that is the nature of what a meme is. We all say big ups, we all know the little inside jokes and all of that stuff, and you effing blanks and you effing cowards. Like, if I were to say that shit to somebody that doesn't even know PWR exists, like, they would think I'm fucking crazy. And I think that's also what kind of builds as a community, all of us kind of getting all of these inside jokes. It just amazes me that a person like a PWR or any of these lolcows, to be honest, like, can't take themselves so serious enough to realize that, this is the type of stuff that you want as a content creator. You want to have something that you can like call and receive from people that watch your stuff. If he just leaned into it and knew that, like, okay, we're all in on it, the same way that people kind of, buy into the idea that if they're sitting down and watching a Marvel movie, that's not Chris Helmsworth, that's Thor, or Chris Evans, and that's Captain America, or Tony Stark, that's Iron Man. If they didn't take themselves so seriously and was worried, so like, you're not going to be able to have everybody in the world rock with you the way that you want to be rocked with. Like, there are going to be people out there that's just going to hate on you just for the sake of hating. And you could be a saint, you could be a philanthropist, you can give all of your earthly items to charities and stuff like that, and it'll never be good enough for anybody. So once you realize, like, you're not going to please all the people all the time, you really do have like that freedom to just do what you want to do and just live the life that you love. And as long as you're not like fucking with anybody else while you're doing it, then by all means.
Yeah, and also PWR has to realize what his appeal online is. So it's not to play Donkey Kong and talk about, when I was 5 years old, I did this, this, or this. Nobody cares. They want you to go after Ethan Ralph. They want you to go after RTU. They want the drama streams. They want you to be that PWR that calls them sick bastards, boneheads. They want that. They want excitement. And I can see it inside of you, PWR. I can see that excitement, but you can't take yourself so seriously. You have to be able to joke at yourself as well. And I don't know if he has it in him. He has a lot of, like you said, bipolar. He has a lot of mental issues. So him being online might not be the best for him. But if he was actually humble and he took things seriously and did all the drama stuff, you never know. people might actually come around on him.
And I think that kind of could be said to all of us. I feel like maybe we do spend a little bit too much time on the internet. We are too worried about what other people think of us. Um, Obviously, touching grass is highly recommended in this modern era. And just take a step back. I know like a couple of creators out there, and I always like to say it out loud too on my streams. Like it's all just jokes. Once the internet's off, once the stream is off, I really don't give it much thought. I don't constantly check my phone to see what's happening at every waking moment of this stuff. A lot of the times I wake up to the news of Cat yelling at DSP for talking to Wings at 2 in the morning, or I'll wake up to the news that PWR just had his last stream and that he's getting kicked out of his house and stuff like that. I think a lot of it, I think, we could take our own advice. Take a step back, take a deep breath and realize that this is just internet shit. It's not real life. You know, again, it's fun. It's fun to me. It's fun to me. It's fun to me to be able to hang out with everybody, and we are all in on the same joke, and we can, appreciate the empty calories that a LOLCOW is. I always equate it to modern day reality television, which is crazy because, to be perfectly honest, I hate reality television. I didn't even like Total Divas. I didn't like John Cena being a total heel to
Yeah, it's also fake too.
Nikki Bella. But this modern day like LOLCOW watching, like King Cobra when like Jessica was coming through, or when RTU does something goofy, or when the quartering is trying to creep on Melanie Mack, or when Ethan Ralph is throwing slurs at Scarlett, who is blitzed out of her mind. It's like empty calorie car crash television. And, I don't spend the majority of my time thinking about these things outside of like gathering the stuff in order to watch it together with you guys, which I feel like is a very communal type thing. We don't get together to sing Kumbaya. We found ourselves in a very unique situation where we all enjoyed the same type of stuff, and then also at the same time we find other things that we enjoy, like wrestling, like Dance Revolution, like rhythm games. Like it's absolutely incredible, by the way, and going back to the DDR stuff, how many detractors that I know behind the scenes that I talk to that fuck with DDR heavy, and they don't show their power level, and I'm not going to show it for them, but it's so cool. It's so cool to like get the foot in the door when it comes to like getting to know other people. And obviously the internet is the internet. You don't know if you're talking to a bot or a Russian op or anything like that. But for the toxic community that the Vortex and the Detractors are, I've never met a better group of people, a well-adjusted group of people. Obviously, there's some other elements, problematic elements, and I'm sure that maybe my standards are really low because I've been in professional wrestling for such a long time, which is not exactly the most sterling place to be brought up, especially when it comes to me coming up through original Attitude Era stuff, ECW, ZZW shit, all the way up to this TKO stuff in WWE right now. Let me ask you a question. You saw
Okay.
the Royal Rumble, right? You
Yes,
saw the Royal Rumble, right?
I did.
What do you think about Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble?
I thought it was a wasted opportunity because you're
Who
gonna
do
have the
you
same thing
who
over
do
and
you
over.
think should have won?
I think the best one, if you're gonna build up the future, especially, would have been Braun Breaker.
It's unfortunate he is out with the injury right now. He like had some sort of hernia surgery because he flipped the table incorrectly or something. It was just some freak accident. That Vision group is cursed. Everybody's getting hurt. It doesn't look like he's going to be back for WrestleMania. But I agree with you. The Roman Reigns win, like he didn't need the win, but obviously they wanted to get their biggest marquee money match front row center, and I think like obviously the biggest thing that they have going into WrestleMania right now with Roman Reigns and CM Punk is interesting. But it's two established guys, and I mean obviously I think the other side of it, the WWE Championship side of it, with Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. I feel like they're probably going to have something. So you got the big money match with Roman Reigns, CM Punk. You got the big names, and then you've got obviously the established, and then you're bringing in Jacob Fatu and bringing them up to their level to see, how they do under the big lights. So obviously, I'm going to watch it. Obviously, it's going to be interesting, but I agree with you. They probably could have done maybe something else in order to get the CM Punk Roman Reigns match. They could have given that. They could have given that win to like an LA Knight or something like that.
I feel like LA Knight, if he doesn't do something soon, he's going to be damaged goods. Because he's been
I
thrown
think
down
they're not going to
over
pull
and
the trigger
over.
on him.
Yeah. And I feel like...
He's just...
Because I feel like if he doesn't have a big moment at WrestleMania, it's over for him.
He's getting the biggest pops. He's got obviously the sponsorships with Slim Jim. He's a value commodity. He's always on television. So it's not like, this is what I hate, by the way. Let me just put on my pro wrestling cap on. When you see people on the internet say, oh, LA Knight is being buried or LA Knight's not being utilized, to an extent, yes, but also they're giving him the shine in a different way. Obviously, he's a spokesperson for the company. All of the branding from advertisements are going to him. He's an established character on the show. Not everybody can be Roman Reigns. Pro wrestling is a stew, and you have different ingredients in the stew, and not everybody could be the meat of the stew. Some people have to be the vegetables. When you hear people on the internet say stuff like, "Oh, LA Knight, they're burying him, they're not using him right." No, I mean, I would love to be underutilized as an LA Knight on WWE television. I'm sure he's doing well to good. I'm sure the business behind what he's doing is far exceeding anybody's wildest imaginations, especially with the amount of revenue that TKO is bringing in. Absolutely insane how disgustingly expensive a WrestleMania ticket is. You're never going to see me at a WrestleMania ever again.
Well, did you see Raw? All the empty seats by the sign?
Gross. It was disgusting, bro. I remember when they had the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and it looked like all of the empty chairs were out there with those weird LED lights.
Oh, yeah.
It was just... WWE, if anything, is such a very good propaganda machine. They can make you believe that the arena that they're in is full of people when it's really not. That just seems to be kind of lost right now. I don't understand. Like, I'm a huge fan of like the production values of a show. I watch the Monday Night Raws, and I love how they do the drone shots, and I wonder how they're going to utilize color theory in the LED trons and stuff like that. I'm interested in how the lasers and the spotlights are moving. I guess that's my special autism, but like it's so wild to see like how much more money it costs. Not just the TKO prices for WWE stuff, but literally fucking everything, dude.
I feel like WWE under TKO, though, is very soulless. I feel like they're going for viral moments over telling stories, having good matches, things that make sense, and they're just going week by week. And, like, for an example, John Cena turning heel last year. Amazing moment. We thought it would never happen, but they did nothing with it. Travis Scott, The Rock, there's no follow-up with it. So I think they're just going for, like, viral moments right now, which is sad.
I agree. I watch Raw and I watch SmackDown, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching the pay-per-views going, what part of this is going to be used for the next season of Unreal? Which I like that show, but I feel like it's showing too much. But then also at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, this is also manufactured kayfabe. It's the reality television. They're trying to add an extra meta layer on top of the veil that is pro wrestling. Like, obviously it's a production, and when you have literally Rhea Ripley being filmed in the back going over her spots with Bianca Belair, and I'm sitting there going, so why the fuck should I say, hey, no, this shit hurts when I hit the ring? It does hurt when you hit the ring, but I can't go out there now. You're making my job harder for me to go out there and have a hold on somebody and have somebody believe that I'm actually doing it. Like, I feel like it's making my job harder.
Well, did you see who's on season 2?
I saw the first episode of season 2. It had Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, so I do not know if that's who you're talking about.
So there's also going to be CM Punk on there,
Uh,
which is
shit.
interesting because
So
he's
what?
one of the old school guys too.
It's crazy. I was just about to say, what do you think about that? How CM Punk was the counterculture guy. He was the guy that was never supposed to make it in WWE, and now he is towing the company line, the face of the company. Like he is the reliable hand that they need. He has the star power. Like it's undeniable. CM Punk is a an actual like top tier talent in that company. He stands on his own when it comes to like star power and in-ring acumen and promo abilities. Like having a CM Punk on your show definitely benefits it. It was a huge missed opportunity. Well, I'm not gonna say a huge missed opportunity for AEW, but it's AEW's loss was WWE's gain, and that just goes to the push and pull and the ebbs and flows of pro wrestling. I've said it on my streams. I fall in and out of love with pro wrestling. I'm bipolar about pro wrestling a lot of the times because there are just sometimes I'm just sitting there going, man, I can't dedicate 2 hours of Monday Night Raw, another 2 hours of NXT, another 2 hours or an hour of AEW, another 2 hours of SmackDown, or 3 hours, whatever the fuck it is, and then a 5 hour to 6 hour pay-per-view. I don't
Yeah.
have time to do all of that stuff. I have DSP to watch, bro.
Yeah, and the whole thing too is when he left WWE the first time, he was so miserable. He was angry. He was burnt out. He went to UFC, obviously, and that didn't work out. And then he went
I forgot
to
about that.
yeah, 2 matches he lost, and then he went to AEW, and I like some parts of AEW, but not some others. It feels like Tony is just letting them do whatever they want. There's no one putting like structure to it. So they go out, do what they want, and then he goes back to WWE after a backstage fight. And I believe AEW is like, the boys, but the WWE is the men. So they're more mature, they're more realization what has to be done, they're more team players. So when he comes in, all of a sudden, nobody's talking bad about him. All of a sudden, he goes to NXT, helps people out, gives them advice. People are more receptive to him, aka, Hangman Page, just saying. But he's doing good. He's a lot more of a company man than he was before, which is good because I can see when Triple H is done, I can see Seth as the main roster taking care of that, and I can see CM Punk taking care of NXT. So I think he's doing good. I think he's a good company man, and I think as long as TKO doesn't fuck things over, I think they'll do good.
It's crazy to think like this TKO era. It almost sometimes I think back to the Vince McMahon era when the Attitude Era was going on and the Ruthless Aggression era and all of that stuff. I sat through a decade's worth of miserable WWE programming, and I liked it. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, they're doing a tope to the floor. You know they're gonna have a commercial break, or fuck." Like the child like humor, like the farts and the shits and
Yeah.
the corny shit. Um, Sometimes I like reminisce and think like I grew up on this. I thought it was fine, but like now looking at it, I'm like, okay, the WWE doesn't really do that anymore. And I'm kind of glad for it. But it's definitely you could definitely feel like it's a very produced, like obviously scripted, but like there's no the chaos that we watch a PWR stream about. There's no
Yeah.
chaos about it. You know that everything is carefully mapped out and planned. And that's by design because they're showing you behind the scenes stuff. They've had the agents like Bobby Roode or Abyss saying he's over his time. He's going over his time. Like, okay, so now we're exposing that like every time that there's a match, it's really just them waiting out the clock. And if they're going to break, they're going to throw a hold on. It again, it goes back to
Yeah.
me saying that it's making my job harder for people to believe that what they're coming out to see is legit. I mean, they already paid the ticket, so I guess
Well, the whole thing
they're
too
willing
is you
to
take the genie out of
accept
the
it.
bottle, the magic's gone. So everyone knows the
It's
secrets.
never coming
Everyone knows
back.
everything. You can't put it back in. So once it's out, it's
Mm,
done. And like you said, it makes your job harder because you're gonna have those marks, the so-called smart fans that come up to you, start talking their lingo, start telling you how things are, and I know you hate that very, very much.
yes. Oh my God. The greatest thing and the worst thing is having somebody who thinks they know. And it's crazy because it's not just people that are on that one side of the guardrail. A lot of times it'll be people that made the jump to the other side and started calling themselves pro wrestlers as well. Because then they'll sit there and tell you what they think pro wrestling is. And to an extent, they're absolutely right because pro wrestling could be anything, even if it's the dumb shit, especially if it's the outlaw mud show shit, which I have a soft spot in my heart for because before I even became a licensed pro wrestler, I was doing backyard wrestling. And I was doing the stupid backyard wrestling, like I'm going to impersonate Cactus Jack style shit, where I'm not even going to throw a headlock on. I'm just going to fall down a flight of stairs. And now you've got the next generation coming up, like a Darby Allin, literally destroying his body for pro wrestling, the meat grinder that is pro wrestling. That's his thing. Like he's an excellent wrestler. He's a great hand in the ring, but he depends on the stunt show aspect of his attraction to sell tickets, which is unfortunate because it goes counter to preserving yourself and ensuring that you have a long career. He's just burning himself out, and I can't blame him because I used to be that type in the backyard wrestling. I was doing the Mick Foley shit where I was just throwing myself off high things and through makeshift tables for lack of any athletic ability or anything like that. But yes, going back to the point, people going up to you going, you should have went for the cover and hooked the leg when you did that. Okay, dude, yeah, sure, we're gonna do that.
So I'm gonna have a follow-up question with that. What are your thoughts on Dave Meltzer?
He's a necessary evil. So I'm not going to speak for all pro wrestlers, but I feel like wrestling journalism, just like with all journalism, unfortunately, is going to have a bias. And it's a stink that you're never going to objectively remove from anything that you see from a Dave Meltzer or from pro wrestling. What's that one guy? I forget his name. The other guy that's on the Dave Meltzer show. It doesn't matter. It'll come to me.
Brian
It'll come to me
Alvarez.
eventually. Thank you. Yes, Brian Alvarez. I will listen to a Brian Alvarez and a Dave Meltzer. I'll listen to a JD from New York. I'll listen to a Sala Monster. I will listen to wrestling journalist opinions on the shows and stuff like that. And I take it the same way that I listen to, for an example, like a Mark Levin or a Rachel Maddow or a Hassan or a Razor Fist or even a Styx Hexenhammer Review Tech USA and the quartering. I'm not going to subscribe to what they have to say, but I want to hear what the different opinions and different perspectives are. So to that end, Dave Meltzer, he provides a very, he has the sage wisdom, but sometimes he puts his own little personal flair on things that kind of muddies the water a little bit, doesn't legitimize his journalistic integrity. And to be fair, a Dave Meltzer or any wrestling journalist or any journalist out there is not going to get it right 100% of the time. And that could even be said about detracting and what we say about PWR or DSP or whoever. Who knows what the lives that they live when the cameras are off really is? We can only go off of what we see. And so our perspective on what they've got going on could be absolutely different than what is really going on. So I got to give like a Dave Meltzer some grace when it comes to, saying that maybe this match went on a little bit too long or this, that, or the other. He doesn't know why a match went long. It could have been timing. It could have been something happened in the back and they needed to stall. There's just so many different ways that a live event could go wrong or a storyline could go wrong or go right, that there's just so many different things that you're not going to be aware of. And the people that you do get this information from could be giving their own biases to it too. So in a general sense, when it comes to any of these journalists, wrestling or otherwise, you always have to kind of take it with the grain of salt. And so I will give them that grace to where if a Dave Meltzer has a L take, you just got to chalk it up to the game because it's going to happen eventually.
So I have a question. Last year, Royal Rumble was won by Jey Uso. Was that the right call? And he won the title at WrestleMania. Should have he won the title? Should he have beaten Gunther?
I would say that the right call was for him to win the Rumble because at the time he was hot. You know, everybody does the entrance. Everybody loves this. He loves to yeet. Which, by the way, if I might say, he stole that thing from me because I was doing it in 2017. I literally was stealing Daniel Bryan's shirt that said yes, 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 and I was changing it to yeet, yeet, yeet. I was literally
there you go,
yeeting out
that
to
WWE
the
money.
ring. That was my fucking gimmick, bro. I swear to God, Vince McMahon has a satellite over me in my entire life, too. When I was a kid and I was watching the Attitude Era, Monday Night Raw, it was a pay-per-view, actually. I was hanging out with my friends, and I wasn't even paying attention to the screen. I was, like, doing something else. And Val Venus, remember Val Venus?
Oh, yeah.
So he always used to say on his promos, he would always say, the big Valboski is a lot like, and then he would go off on a subject, X, Y, Z, whatever. And for whatever reason, I said, just completely nonchalant, butter, okay? And then the motherfucker said, butter. And I swear to God, ever since then, I'm in my backyard wrestling days. I had a character that I wanted to debut where I was like a priest, like I was doing a holy character. And that I would have a collection plate. I would like take it to everybody else in the backyard and get some money or whatever. Guess what the fuck happened? Deacon Batista started walking out with Yvonne Dudley, bro. I swear to God, I'm not
spying
even
on
fucking kidding, bro. Yes, the satellites. It was the running joke that that WWE, like, I mean, obviously, if you're around in the space for long enough, you're going to see people that have come and gone in the WWE system. And the thing of it is, too, a lot of things that you see on TV has been yoinked from other people. The old ECW joke was that Nova did the move first. Every time Nova had a pay-per-view match or a match on ECW, he would do some wild new maneuver that then you would see on the Monday night shows a couple of weeks or a month later. So I always thought to myself, like, either I'm ahead of the curve or maybe I have ideas that are of the level of a worldwide promotion, or it was just like we both came to the same conclusion and thought, hey, it might have been a good idea to walk around with a toy cross and a collection plate so I can pretend to be Deacon Batista. It kept going all the way up to the yeet, yeet, yeet shit. And, I mean, at that point, I was like, well, I mean, if they're going to take moves, they're going to take ideas, they're going to take gimmicks. If anything, I could just say, you know, I did it, so it must have been a good idea.
Did you ever see DSP explain what he thought yeet meant?
No. Are you familiar with this?
Yes. So on Smart Guys with PPP, they were talking about Jey Uso, and DSP goes, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't yeet mean orgasm? Like, he's orgasm all over the crowd and the kids and stuff? And PPP's like, no, he means he throws it.
Oh my God. Of course that would be brought up.
I highly recommend, find that clip. You'll laugh your ass off.
Oh, I'll put that shit on the soundboard.
I have one last question for you. It's the hardest question ever.
Hit me.
This is going to divide the audience right here. You ready for this?
I'm ready for the risky plays.
Liv Morgan or Rhea Ripley?
Rhea Ripley.
There you
down.
go. That was
easy.
easy.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was quick, brother.
Yeah, because Liv Morgan has that energy, but Rhea Ripley is like, she's crazy but hot at the same time. It's like, you don't know if she's going to help you or hurt you, and it gives you a fear boner.
I'm going to say that it is her accent for me. She's an Australian-style individual. Buddy Murphy is a very lucky person. And on top of that, she is a superstar, bro. Excellent in the ring, an incredible promo. Everything that she does is awesome. And yeah, the accent, that is my weakness, bro.
Yeah, like everything about Rhea Ripley just prints money.
So what does the chat think, guys? Let's hear it. Are we live stands or are we simping for Rhea Ripley?
Oh,
Sound
King Be
off in the
Cool says
chat.
Ripley. We have Nocturnal Ripley.
There you go. There we go.
We got
See,
King
Be
with a
Cruel.
fear boner.
We got the detractor penises up for Rhea Ripley, dude.
So, if there's anything else you want to
Respectfully, of
say,
course.
you want to tell the audience, you want to tell PWR, I'll give you the open floor here.
Well, I appreciate that. First off, Dashfire, thank you so much for allowing me to be on the very first episode of the very rich and robust podcast. I had a lot of fun. I hope we can do this again in the future. And I know PWR is watching, is listening, and if anything, I want him to take away. And you know what? It's not even worth mentioning because I've said this a million times before. He's never going to listen, so I'm not going to waste my breath. Instead, I would rather let everybody know that every Monday through Friday at around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, onwards to around noon, I play Dance Dance Revolution on my YouTube channel, on my Twitch channel, and on my Kick channel. Specifically, if you have a preference as to what platform you want to hang out with us on, by all means, that's why I have the options there. But we are trying to make the Kick platform the premier platform for this production. You can literally get away with cutting yourself and sniffing coke on stream. So I feel like playing a couple copyrighted tunes is really no big thing. Every Monday through Friday, 9 to noon, I play Dance Dance Revolution. And every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and if I'm free on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, I'll do a late night chill stream where we watch Dashfire videos, where we watch PWR illegal restreams, DSP, and just whatever comes to the forefront. Because it's not just now DSP and it's not just PWR, it's iDubbbz. We have a huge contingency of people that come through because of the Anissa and iDubbbz stuff. We have a contingency of people that come through for the Cyrax stuff. We have a group of people that come through that recommend that we watch more locals, like an Andy Ditch, like a Daniel Larson. And it's so cool to be able to kind of adjust and figure out what the pulse of the community is. I am so grateful and I'm so happy to be able to have these streams, whether it be on your channel or on my channel, or, you know, I was on Sav's stream a couple of times. I was on That Being Said once. It's so cool being able to just sit and chop it up about all of the shit that we experience every day. It really does mean a lot, and I really do appreciate it.
And also, if anyone wants good quality design work, Lord Diaz is your man. You can contact him. And then, yeah, he does amazing stuff. So thank you, Lore, for your time today. And then, everybody, thank you for coming. Very first episode. Next week, same time, we have Bland Polecat on as number 2. So come back for that.
Wow, let's go. Big get. Woo.
And then we might have something in March
That's a
and
Warski
also
clap
something
from
in
me.
April too. So guys, actually, you know what? I'll let you say the sign-off, Lore.
I love each and every one of you. Let me just say this. I completely stolen Dashfire's gimmick for the end of his thing, but I put a little twist on it.
You improved it.
Let's just say I took some inspiration. So thank you so much, Dashfire, and thank you guys so much hanging out with us across YouTube and Kick. I love each and every one of you platonically and consensually. Please do stay happy, healthy, and most importantly, hydrated.
Yeah, no drybacks.
Get the F out, you drybacks! Effing cowards.
Everyone have a good night.
Truth and try to be a pill of consequence. lies are curated, careful scams. Now dash fires burning bright, exposing all the shams. Let the trolls, the haters, the algorithms are rigged, but truth is hard, a bitter pill, a consequence unfig. He built his throne on lies, on curated, careful scams. Now dash fires burning bright, exposing all the shams. Crash out, king, your reign is done. The empire's crumbling down. Dash fires lit the match, the fire spreading through the town. No more paid bodies, no more crocodile tears. The reckoning is here, filled by all these wasted years. Crash out, king, your pockets bleed. Your image in the dirt. You built your castle on sand, and now it's getting hurt. So scream and rage and bend, it won't change what's been shown. Your lies are unraveling, your true colors have grown. Remember Pizza Gate, the rage. The census ran another manufactured crisis, another desperate slant. He blocks the truth, he silences, he hides behind his wall. But dash fires digging deep, exposing it all. The support is dwindling, the chapter goes down now. Sent for the Simpson sycophants are licking from his brow. He begs for such, he whines a cryptic display. While genuine creators struggle, he's just leeching day by day. Crash out, king, your reign is done. The empire's crumbling down. Dash fires lit the match, the fire spreading through the town. No more pity bodies, no more crocodile tears. The reckoning is here, filled by all these wasted years. Crash out, king, your pockets bleed. Your image in the dirt. You built your castle on sand, and now it's getting hurt. So scream and rage and bend, it won't change what's been shown. Your lies are unraveling, your true colors have grown. The soldier's overflowing, the tears are turning sour. He's losing his control, his fragile fading power. He calls it hate, harassment, a victim in his mind. But accountability's a bitch, a truth he can't outgrind. Fire's evidence is mounting, undeniable and clear. The manipulation, the toxicity for everyone to hear. He's trapped within his echo chamber, a prisoner of his lies, while the outside world is watching with disgust in their eyes. He plays the DSP gaming curse, a pathetic weak excuse for years of narcissistic rage.